Hey YouTube, Devin Gridley at All Father Fitness, and I am back to making YouTube videos. So for anyone that was subscribed or had subscribed and wondered why I had stopped making videos completely and where I've been and what I've been doing, we are about to get into it. And if you don't really care that much, which I'm sure a lot of people do not, that is perfectly fine. I'm going to actually make this video very educational based on what I have been doing, because I did make a lot of progress while I have been away, and we will get into that after the brief, maybe 60 seconds that I'm going to explain where I was just for document purposes. So basically, about 8 months ago, I moved across the United States. I moved to Ohio, and I've lived here since, obviously. And for anybody that's done something like that, I'm sure you know just how stressful it is. You know, you have to find a job, you got to start paying, you got to find an apartment or a house or whatever, you got to start paying for that, you pay for bills. And obviously, I was 17, I just moved across the country, like, got to get into the groove of, you know, being an adult. So obviously that took some time, and after just being on a layoff for so long, it was just super hard to pick up a camera and start recording, and it's taken me at least an hour just to be in front of the camera right now and do this short little video. But I will get back into it, and I have like 2 or 3 videos already planned that I hope you guys will enjoy. But now that that's done, we can get into what exactly I have been doing while I was away. And I still have been lifting, obviously, but we're going to get into exactly what I was doing. So briefly, we're just going to look at this top part, and basically around the time that I left, these were a lot of my numbers. My body weight, I was 148 pounds. My bench was 225. My deadlift was 405, and my squat was 370. And over the course of roughly 8 to 9 months, my body weight has gone up 10 pounds to 158. My bench has gone up to 225 by 3. My deadlift has gone to 455 by 2. And my squat stayed at 370, but there is a reason why that kind of happened. And that being that my squat was just already so high, because I am really genetically gifted when it comes to the squat. I've basically been squatting over 300 pounds like my entire life, lifting career. Like I've squatted 315 and over longer than I ever squatted anything below that. The first time I ever touched 3 plates, I would think I was a sophomore, and I was in a weightlifting class, and I weighed a lot less back then too. So yeah, so I've just always been genetically gifted. And when you're topping out at 370, which for people who don't know, in my weight class at the time at 148 pounds, which is roughly 69 to 70 kilograms, the world record for the squat, also in my age group, which was 18 and 19, I believe, is 374.8 pounds, so 375 pounds. So I was 5 pounds away from breaking the world record. And when you're just that high at the like limit of what you're able to do, it's just obviously really, really hard to like keep pushing that, especially when you're doing all the other things that I was doing with, you know, moving, getting jobs, and doing all that. So yeah, it's really hard to get that to go up, and trust me, I tried really, really hard. It's killer. But basically, we're going to get over exactly what I did program-wise, and I'm essentially going to show you how you can make your own if you want to follow along, and hopefully see some of the number progress that I did. So what I did find, I was searching forums, trying to find powerlifting stuff, because powerlifting isn't that popular, and there's not like a lot of great sources you can go to. There is great ones, but they are hard to find. They have like, you know, less than 50,000 followers on, you know, Instagram or YouTube. So a lot more difficult to find. But being in Ohio, it is a lot easier, because powerlifting was practically invented here. But I did come across something called the 5x5 and the 3x5, which is like just the base of all powerlifting programs. So that's something you should know. And what it means is you're doing 5 sets of 5 reps and or 3 sets, or sorry, 3 reps, 5 sets. I did that backwards, sorry. But yeah, and my program would look something like this, And so week 1, I'd be benching 5 by 5. Week 2, I would bench 3 by 5. My week 3, I would choose a lift that was a weakness, which instead of training an actual weakness, like if I did this for my week 1 and I noticed that my lockout was bad, I wouldn't just pick this. I would do both, because why would you let something become a weakness instead of just training it? You know what I mean? So I would just always make sure to work on the movements of the lift. So I would do the lift, I would do an upper part of the lift and a lower part of the lift. So if you don't know what a pin press is, it's essentially like a half rep of a bench, except you're not going to pause right there. There's going to be a pin. You're going to set the pins up, like the safety bars up. So you hit it and you stop, and then you press up from there. And what that allows you to do is target your triceps really, really well. And it helps with your lockout strength tremendously. And then when you do the pause benches, when you're touching your chest and you're letting it sit there for at least 1 second, and you press it back up, you do have to use like significantly lower weight, but it does help getting off the sticking point and getting it actually off your chest, because a lot of people struggle with that. And so yeah, I would highly, highly recommend doing both a movement that is for your lockout and for getting out of the sticking point of a lift, because you don't want to let one become a weakness. You can, if you have the weakness of lockout and you just train this, eventually this is going to get strong, and then your ability to get out of the sticking point is going to be a weakness. So I think you should just maintain everything at a constant pace instead of allowing things to become weaknesses. So how do you come up with the numbers for the 5 by 5 or the 3 by 5? And you obviously could easily just go to the gym and figure out, throw 225 on and you get 3 reps, so that would be your 3 by 5. You could easily do that, except there is a way better way to do it, and it just makes a lot more sense, like visually, when you write it down and things. And what it is for the 5 by 5, you're going to take whatever your 1 rep max is, and you're going to take 80% of that, and you should be able to get 5 reps with it. And it's going to be really, really grindy. Like, that last rep is going to be super, super hard. And especially when you get on into the later sets, you should be resting a lot longer for things like this. And then you do the same thing with the 3 by 5. You just take whatever your 1 rep max is, 225, and you times it by 0.9, and that'll give you your 90% of your max. And then you do that for 3 reps, and you do it for 5 sets. So that's how you would find that. And I think that is pretty much it for that. And you would do this for every single movement. So for bench, you'd find off the ground would be the sticking point, or sorry, not off. That would be off the floor, and then at the knees would be the sticking point or your lockout. So you'd find movements that target those specifically. So to get up off the ground, something that would make it more difficult is if you were standing on some plates, and that'd be a raised deadlift. Or you could do that's a deficit deadlift, I apologize. And then if you want to get better lockout, you could either do a pause deadlift, or you could do a deadlift off plates, which would be a block deadlift, which I really, really, really enjoy, because you're able to overload it so much. Or you could do something like rack pulls. You just got to kind of try and figure out what you like best. And it will take probably like 3 mesocycles of you switching out variations of those things to really figure out what you want. And just so I hit every topic, for squat, you could do pause squats for the bottom of the squat, and then a little bit higher than 90 box squats, and that'll really, really help your lockout for that. And also make sure you're doing things like accessory work that hits the muscles that also help inside those specific parts of the movement. Like for your lockout, your glutes are going to be, for the squat and the deadlift, your glutes are going to be very, very important. So make sure you're doing some type of hip thrust movement and grow your glutes and make them stronger, so they're able to better help you when you're lifting. And for the bench, you want to use your triceps for the lockout, and you want to train those with the accessories as well. But yeah, I think that's all I got for what I've personally been doing, and I'll probably keep doing these every 6 months or so, but it's really not going to change because that stuff right there is just perfect. Only thing is if you are doing it, you you will not be able to do it in a calorie deficit. It just will not be possible. It is too difficult, especially when you get into like the second or third mesocycle. It is just, it'll wreak havoc on your body, even at maintenance and even bulking. Because when I was doing it, I recently just stopped doing that altogether the way that it was set up. I still do everything that's there, like the movements and the workouts and whatnot, but it's a lot more spread out. I took off a day of my week, so I no longer train 6 times. I train 5 times max, 4 times on average, and if work gets in the way, unfortunately 3 times, but that's still okay because it gives me time to rest and recover and get back in there and smash some PRs. Obviously, that's what we all want. But I think that is all I got for now, and I should have more videos up pretty soon. And I think the one I have scheduled is how to make a program for yourself so you can stop, paying money for cookie cutter programs from people who don't really know what they're talking about. So that'll be a really interesting one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. As always, if you have any questions about anything fitness related, put them down in the comments and you will 100% get a message back from me. And if you want me to make a video about something, also put it down in the comments, and the chance that I make a video on it is probably going to be 100% because finding ideas is pretty difficult. You guys would be surprised. But yeah, that's all I got. If you aren't subbed, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you always get notified when I do make videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.